Welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This should have been recorded a couple hours ago, honestly, but decided last night to do some cable management on my desk and start cleaning out my desk drawers, and yeah, it looks kind of like the Best Buy returns department threw up all over my room. We've been going through old tech. You know, I went through the cables and bagged them by category. Audio-visual cables, data cables, all kinds of stuff. So last night I started going through some of my external hard drives. I've got some old Western Digital my books. Got like 2 terabytes worth of that. And started putting it into the 4 terabyte drive down in the bottom there, which is not mounted in the PC, but it is saving space being inside the PC. One of our old tablets, an old Android cell phone, my wife's old laptop, one of my old laptops, which I'm repurposing, my dad's old laptop, which is currently downloading the upgrade for Windows 10 from 8.1. Let that soak in for a minute. Another old tablet over there, waiting for an upgrade. That's going to be used again. I got to replace the screen on that. Oh yeah, and let's not forget this box of old hard drives from old laptops and some of my old tower PCs. There's a Windows XP hard drive in there, a couple Windows Vista tower hard drives, and I believe a Windows 7 tower hard drive, and then a bunch of laptop hard drives, which are mostly XP. Oh no, they're a mix too. XP, Vista, and 7. And oh look, there's Quarter taking a nap. So let's set this up on Quarter and then we'll read some stories. I rebooted every single night. Very quick one, just happened. Working on a client's laptop, everything's running super slow. Brought up Task Manager, which even just opening that took a few minutes. Asked when the last time she's rebooted it while we waited. She said, I rebooted every single night when I'm done with work. Task Manager comes up. Check system uptime. Oh my god. 319:04:44:28. So is that 319 days, 4 hours, 44 minutes, and 28 seconds? Windows updates also haven't been running the whole time. Rebooted, ran updates, rebooted again, ran updates, rebooted again. Things running like a dream. Asked how she reboots it. She said she closes the lid and knows that doing so doesn't reboot the computer. It just puts it to sleep. Changed power settings to shut down when closing the lid. Yeah, so she knows that doesn't reboot the laptop, but she claims she reboots it every time she leaves work. Gotcha. Yeah, I couldn't set my laptops to totally shut down when the lid's closed because we have to close the lids in order to keep the cats off of them, but then we'll have to come right back to it, you know, within an hour or so and get back on it for something, and that would just be too much. Why is that spare server blinking? I work in industrial automation, and for some smaller customers this bleeds over into also providing light IT support when they don't have a dedicated IT team. The customer was planning on upgrading a few pieces of software on their automation servers and wanted me to be on site in case something went wrong. No problem. The upgrades go pretty well. The server needs a reboot, so I go to reboot it. It doesn't come back up, so I ask where their server room is. We walk down the hallway to a door. The customer opens the door and I'm greeted by a bunch of filing cabinets and cardboard boxes sitting in a small closet-sized room. And then there in the back, around the stack of cardboard boxes, was a server rack with 2 or 3 servers humming away. I pushed back the desire to talk about maybe adding some access control or adding some HVAC to keep the tiny space cool, and pushed my way to the back of the closet. As the customer is pointing out which servers do what, I asked them which server is the one that we were working on. The customer points to the floor. There's 2 spare servers sitting on the carpet directly on top of one another. But there are wires going to the servers and the lights are blinking. Wait, they're in production this way? Servers just sitting on the floor? Turns out the top server was their SQL server, and the bottom one that was sitting on the carpet was the SCADA server that I was installing updates on. I don't know where they got these servers, but they wouldn't fit in their existing rack, so they just kind of set them down somewhere. I gave the bottom server some airflow by putting a cardboard box under it, rebooted it, continued about my upgrades, and finished the day by sending a strongly worded email about how rack-mounted servers should probably reside in a rack and not directly on carpeted floors. I'll give you one guess where those servers are sitting today. Oh, I'm sure they didn't go back and do what you suggested. That would be too easy. Honestly, what they should have done was hired you for a few hours to find a way to mount those servers on the existing rack and, you know, neaten up some cables, do some cable management, and maybe label some things. Yeah, that'd be too much like right, huh? But can you turn it on? Short and sweet. It had to happen eventually, right? Phone rings. Me. Helpdesk, this is Absinthe. How may I help you? Hey, I've read something from you before. User. I left my laptop at home today and now my computer won't turn on. Is there a way for you to turn it on for me? Me. Wait, what do you mean that you can't turn on the computer you left at home? User. The computer's right here, the little box that says Lenovo. You plug the laptop into it and it turns on. Can't you turn it on for me? Me. That's a docking station. All it does is connect your laptop computer to your monitors, power, Ethernet, and other peripherals. It doesn't have any computing power. User. But can you turn it on for me?
Are you stupid or something?
Me. The only computer that's assigned to your account is your laptop, and since you left that at home, there's nothing I can do for you. User. Well, fine. Me. Enjoy the long weekend. People have told me that they've had users confused turning the monitor off and on for restarting their computers, but I've never come across such confidence in a call that their laptop was a glorified power source for the actual computer. Yeah, that's a new one on me. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Yeah. I don't even know. I don't have words for it. I'm good. Email sales. Is that email is greater than sales? I don't know. Let's read. First job right out of college was to help one of those big blue and yellow stores get built in the northeast of the US. I was given the hourly wage title of super user and wasn't even allowed into the management meetings that happened once a week, even though I was responsible for all tech and employee training at the organization. Found out later it was partly because when managers and assistant managers got bonuses, they were a month or two extra of salary and I got $100 on my paycheck. Anyway, the entire sales floor was thin clients. Half the office PCs were thin clients. Each department on the sales floor had a username and password specifically for that area, simply to force printer installs and make sure each department had the software they needed. All managers had a computer or thin client in the office to work, check email, etc. Well, because managers and assistant managers were so incredibly important, they would log in during slow times on the thin clients on the sales floor, read, print emails, the whole 9 yards. The problem was when they logged back into the thin client as the department login and tried to print, that default printer technically didn't exist. Now, for these big blue and yellow stores, people have to order mostly in the departments, especially big-ass kitchen and storage orders, and then take the sheets to a warehouse to get those boxes stacked up and ready for them. In some rare cases, the network would get so nutty it would bring down all 35 plus POS systems at the front of the store. So, pretty simple solution, right? Don't check personal email on the sales floor. Then we can, sell stuff and take people's money and get paid. Once a week. Once a effing week, the entire store would shut down and everybody would yell at me even though it was completely and totally their fault. Naturally, most of these outages happened during a peak of Saturday or Sunday shift. Once I put in my 2 weeks after 7 or so months and this happened, I'd hide in the server room to let the fire spread a bit before having to restart everything. I may be an hourly wage employee, but maybe, just maybe, I know what I'm talking about here, folks. It really doesn't matter who's working under me. If they have something constructive to say, now if they're always saying something stupid, then I'm just not going to listen right from the start. But generally speaking, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt in the beginning. And if they usually come up with good ideas or know the answer or know the technology better than I do, anything like that, it's worth a listen. Even if I don't agree, it's worth a listen because sometimes they do know better. Or sometimes even if they don't exactly know, hearing what they have to say may trigger a memory. The old cliche statement, 2 heads are better than one. Sometimes you come up with a better idea with 2 of you spouting ideas and, oh, well, maybe it's this. But yeah, sometimes that's a bit much for management to get their heads around. Listen to non-management? Ooh. The time we lost a client because they used a printer as their router. I still had no idea how this worked because according to our scope, we were not to touch the network because other companies have messed up our network in the past. It was a retail shop and we were retrofitting it to work with a new POS vendor. They had all their own equipment, but we just needed to wipe the machines, load the software, configure RMM for the devices, and ensure everything worked. When I got on site, everything seemed pretty simple besides a mess of unmanaged switches. All the computers were on DHCP and everything was wired. After I set everything up, I realized the printers were on a different network. It didn't seem like a big deal, just made sure the PCs had connections to both networks. Lo and behold, every time X amount of time the printers switched IPs, the whole shop went down. No insight into the network, so we had to just fix it every time, and eventually the customers dropped us for the guy who set up the network. Again, lost for words. I'm not even sure what happened there. It sounds like they used the printers as a network. All I know is it sounds like a real mess, and if I'd have walked into that, and like he said, it looked simple at first, but if something kept triggering, I might have left before they even had a chance to dump me. Is the router turned on? This happened last year. I don't work tech support, but I am A+ certified. As the tech guy in the family, I of course get the phone call to come help whenever my parents' Wi-Fi breaks. My sister's 22 and still lives at home. She calls me one day and says, "Come help, the internet won't work." So I go down there. They have more issues than you might think, usually because someone screwed up the router. One time the Wi-Fi radio got turned off with a dedicated button on the housing. Thanks, Tenda. Anyway, my first question on the phone was, is it plugged in? I was assured by my sister the answer was yes. So I drive down there, go into the office to look, and what do you know? Router's unplugged. The Wi-Fi hasn't worked for like 2 weeks at this point, but no one bothered to do as much as make sure it was plugged in. People overcomplicate things in their mind before they even attempt to try to find out what the issue is. It's amazing. I don't get it. Perhaps he's being too paranoid. We are a large international firm. As such, we frequently remind our users to be ever vigilant toward malicious emails, running regular phishing tests and forwarding training bulletins. Of course, our training includes ideas such as forwarding suspect emails as attachments. Spoiler, they never do. To your favorite tech support person or to our central ticketing system. We also force required updates to our users via policy, but of course some machines don't like the update and we have to contact them to install an update manually. Not a big deal for most people. It gives them a quick break during the day. I had one user who took forever to respond to my request to install a driver update. He finally did. We decided on a time and I sent him an invitation so that time would be blocked off. A few minutes later, a new ticket comes through the system from this user, with our email thread attached. I'd like to confirm this is a legit request. I replied with details of our appointment and a link to my intranet profile before closing the case. The update via remote access went off this morning without a hitch. And oh, by the way, if you send that response back, and it is a scammer, what do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to say, "Oh no, I'm a scammer, this isn't legitimate"? Why I have trust issues. The first time I ever learned not to trust a user. I'd been trying to configure their VPN on the machine that I knew for a fact was their home machine. I knew this because it's called Home Machine, and is a desktop that never moves and has never moved because, as I implied, this was their home machine. It also helps that I have intermittently supported this machine over the years. So I get on there, set it up to connect to their work network, trying to connect, won't work for crap. I spend over an hour getting increasingly frustrated, which obviously clouds the mind. Getting this far is admittedly somewhat my fault for assuming anything I'd been told was true, which led me to not checking or paying attention to certain things. I call the user up. "Hey, was there anything going on with the internet at your house? I just can't get it to work for some reason. Thought maybe you'd know something I don't." "Oh, it's the machine here with me. I brought it in for you to set up the VP." Oh my god. "Oh, it's the machine here with me. I brought it in for you to set the VPN up." "Excuse me, you've done what and it's where?" More of a statement than a question. We were 4 miles away from their offices, but I'm surprised they couldn't hear me shouting. Oh my god. Why would you do that? Why would you bring it in to work with you for them to set it up? I don't understand. Well, hey guys, if you enjoy these stories, do me a favor. Click the video right here on the screen. I think you're going to enjoy that one too. See ya.